Roca early on received a non-dilutive grant from the Israel Innovation Authority to really bring this innovation to cancer patients, allowing doctors to prescribe you your personalized medicine and then having you pick it up in the pharmacy with 100% traceability.
But I can see for Roca, you're right, like more of a luxurious thing, like have a Roca. So for all those people who enjoy their weed just like you would enjoy your wine, you're not going to go and buy a $10 bottle of wine. I guess what's really popular is the pre-roll. Like, I don't know how to roll. I hate rolling. I don't have time for it. But okay, if I have a pre-roll, that shortens the time.
We have the Industrial Revolution 2.0, which is way more AI and actually additive manufacturing oriented. So instead of having a long lead time and a long process to create the tools in order to manufacture, now the technology can just manufacture without the hassle and the long lead times. So I would say print everything you can. You can print buildings, you can print cannabis, you can print steaks, just print it.
Okay guys, welcome back to the Rubasha Family Podcast. Now we have a very, very special guest in the building. We're here with the two co-founders of Roca, Printing Happiness, your brand, your style. And we have our special guest, Ram, a passionate visionary who's confident, creative, a natural communicator, and someone who's been a leader, assertive, action-orientated, ambitious, commanding, with a striving for excellence. With the co-founder at Roca, founder at Dream Drops, really generating creative concepts, designing and manufacturing really innovative products. And we can see that clearly with Roca. And we have obviously the one and only David, who came on the show last time, again, with such passion and vision to, solve problems. We've been having conversations within the medical marijuana industry. Again, someone, David, we would describe who's confident, a leader, mentally strong, is loyal, a natural communicator. He can be a bit of a perfectionist, but he is guarded, compassionate, assertive, and social, which is why we're doing this here today. So, guys, I want to welcome you guys to the show, and I'm really getting interested in this conversation today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sugira. Yeah, so I was on the podcast last time. We spoke more about the medicinal aspects of Roca, and I guess there was a lot of interest in the more recreational aspects of Roca. Sugira basically offered to do another podcast, this time have a bit of a more free-flowing conversation. And this time bring my better half, my co-founder, Ram Solel, who is also the inventor of the technology, to maybe give a bit more of a background about what led him to think about printing cannabis and creating the Roca natural 3D microtextured hemp paper, his background, etc. So I'll pass the mic to my friend here.
Thank you, David, and thanks for having us. So my background is in industrial design. I'm an industrial designer, actually more of an inventor, but I went to the university for industrial design. I've dealt a lot with 3D printing in all aspects, from consumer products to technology demonstrators to buildings and everything in between. I have a background in medical device as well. Worked for 4.5 years for a company that actually offers treatment for cancer, FDA approved, named Novocure. And after being a medical patient myself here in Israel for the past 15 years due to a rough motorcycle accident, I was cut short from my regular strain and regular dosage due to a reform that was here in Israel, unfortunately. And at that point in time, some of my friends from the university started printing steaks with all the alternative protein that there was a boom of that here in Israel and worldwide. And at that point in time, I asked myself, why can't I 3D print cannabis? Then went on to develop the first POC, filed the first patent, and then actually connected with David at his venture capital firm, where we decided to actually build Roca together at early 2023.
Really powerful. And what I'm really intrigued in now, you guys coming together, we did talk about a little bit earlier, David, in terms of the recreational point of view. So a little bit of a background, when I first heard of Roca, I was shocked. I guess the biggest factor was the part where you're telling me I could smoke Roca as a recreational, and with my recreational hat, I could get high the same way I would have flour in there, but without the flour. Ram, David, I'll have you take this on, and then I'll leave this on to Ram on how you guys made that possible. And what does that look like for the future recreational smoker? Like, getting used to not having flour in there, but still having that same high effect that they would have if they did have flour. And can you guys correct anything if I've said anything wrong there?
Marketing is all about storytelling. Dad, when we first started this business, what did you say to me?
I said, yes, we do a podcast.
Why?
Because I want to tell our story.
Why?
Because I know the story builds a legacy.
Builds a legacy. And that is exactly what we do here at ETS Rubasha Media. We market your story on social media so you could build a legacy for those who come after you, to build your business and your personal brand.
Yeah, follow us on our platform. Go on our website, etsrubashamedia.com.
This is about legacy, and it is about showing up on social media every single day, because if you don't show up, your competition will.
No, for sure. You said everything right, Sugira. So actually, it's best to like illustrate. So I have right here. This is a Roca wrap with 100 milligrams of THC infused on it. When it's rolled, basically, it's completely hollow. So there's nothing added into it. It's completely hollow, and you can see way into the back. We use a completely clogged glass tip. The air is basically, or the smoke is basically forced to go through the peripheral, through all of these, capillary structure that we created. And then you get a mouth drag. It mimics very much the way that you would get a drag from a regular tobacco or cannabis pre-roll cigarette. So yes, you're not required to add anything to it. You just roll it, lick it, light it. We can dose it between 5 and 300 milligrams per unit. However, to your original questions about the recreational aspects of it, when we went to America, basically everybody started putting bud in it, even though it wasn't designed for it. And we weren't really able to go, hey, stop putting bud in it. So we decided, if you can't beat them, join them. Exactly. And then all these qualities that we've created, we had to create our own glue. We had to create the groove structure, the micro-textured 3D pattern on the papers. This was originally designed so it can do this, be a vehicle for extract only. But people started coming up to us and saying, it self-corrects. It doesn't burn in a canoe anymore. It self-corrects because of the 3D pattern. It wasn't designed for it, but it's a great thing to find out that the paper actually has a lot of attributes for the recreational market as well. It's 100% natural hemp, and the micro texture here really gives you a smoother hit. So a lot of people came up to us saying it's smoother than a regular joint, because they're not used to smoking brown paper that's so smooth. Yeah, basically all of the assets that we created for medicinal transfer into the recreational as well.
And Ram, so like with that whole technology, how did that come about? Like, I think that, when I think about it as let's say on the recreational smoking side, that's unbelievable. Can you talk a little bit about your experience and what came about that type of technology that allows smokers to do that?
So basically, the trick here is to manipulate physics. There aren't any additives, and it's just the way the actual burn effect happens. So it's just a manner to take that from something that's uncontrollable to control. This is how you can control it with the geometry. And how can you affect the airflow and the way it hits on the throat for the end user is with those capillary structures. There is an array of, you can call it junctions, for the smoke that goes through them. So it travels a much longer way as opposed to a regular joint, and it enables it to cool down. This is why both of these effects actually affect heavily on recreational smokers, because when you take flower and roll it unprofessionally, you would say, it can burn in an uncontrolled manner. So you don't actually make the most out of your weed. You can get higher if it would burn slower, if you could take larger tokes. And this enables that. So I can tell you that if you smoke a regular joint next to a Roca, it would actually, you would get more high with the Roca because it makes the most out of the weed. So it doesn't matter if it's infused or uninfused. When the actual burn is slower, you make the most out of the material. And you can see it with the white ash that we have on the Roca. When you smoke a Roca, the ash is fully white, which means you have taken everything you can take and absorb everything from your joint.
So let me ask you, so Ram, let me keep it with you there. So like, are you telling me like, let's say I'm in this studio, can I smoke like that Roca here with the THC? And because like I'm not, because with the flower, I can't sit here. I'd have to go outside. That's a little bit crazy, right? So can a recreational smoker, just like the way I'm here, just smoke a Roca with the THC in there and have that same effect? Because it's very interesting how you say for the smokers, it's that long, you want that longer smoke instead of that quicker. And, you know, smokers now are always wanting to get more high and more high. So, yeah, that's very interesting. What would you say about that? Could you do that where I could smoke it inside?
Yeah, because there is less material burning. It burns at a lower temperature. So, first of all, it's less harmful. And the smoke it emits doesn't have that distinct marijuana smell. So, it's very much mild, both on the throat and both on everyone else that's surrounding you. So you can smoke it indoors, and you would definitely have less smoke emits out there, but you will get more high. Because as opposed to flower that has a lot of cellulose that you need to burn and actually transfer into smoke, with this, you burn it in a lower temperature and you have much less material. So you get more high because it burns slower and it's extract, so it's very much strong. And you don't need to have flour for it. But as David mentioned, Americans usually take it and put flour inside it so they can double down and have an infused joint that has like 40 to 50% THC. And we can accommodate both.
So, okay, so, and let's flip it to you, David. So you're saying, like what Ram just described, if I now put flour on that same joint, because that's the thing, when I went to America this time, like I went to the dispensary and then they said, oh, we have this thing called an infused joint. And I was like, I'd never heard of that before. I was like, and they're like, oh, come, it gets you even more high. He was like, yo, you got to smoke this slow, like it gets you, you know, so I had never seen that before. So what is that with Roca? So now with Roca, okay, I don't need the flour, but now if I put flour in there, what effect does that have? And can you make that in modern English language for us to understand the effect it has for recreational smokers and why this is a must use for smokers?
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic question. So, what we've seen in the, at least with the American recreational smoker market, is constant rise in the need for more. So, more personalization, more dosage, more, you know, I want the tip to be from glass. And these ultra expensive, to your visit in the US, infused pre-rolls, right? It has a bunch of ranges, but for the most part, the idea is flour is not enough anymore. Like you want to get an extra kick. You want to get more high. You want to extend your high. So there's a lot of ways to do that. There's what's called hash holes, where there is infusion in the center, in the core of the pre-roll. There is keef coating, which is an ability to basically coat the exterior of an existing pre-roll joint with cannabis powder, you can call it. And then there's Roca. Roca is one of its kind. We're the only technology that allows printing extract, any type of extract, from distillate to full spectrum rosin, resin, directly onto the paper. You can consume it just as is. Or if we're going into the category of the recreational infused pre-rolls, you can have the most specialty pre-roll on the market that, again, does not canoe. One of the worst things about these ultra expensive infused pre-rolls is that you end up paying like 30, 40, sometimes $50 for this infused joint, because it's so packed with either hash on the inside, hash hole, or the keef on that. It tends to burn in a in a canoe angle. And then you end up throwing half of a $50 joint. It comes in and solves all that, basically allowing for the most specialty roll out there. We can also really program it so it has several different experiences on the same pre-roll, like stuff that doesn't exist on the market today. We can do with our technology, basically.
Okay, so Ram, let me flip it to you. With what he just described there, you're saying, for example, some of the pre-rolls, I can get the Roca with the THC extract, go get some flour, put the flour inside the Roca. Can I maybe pack it later? Maybe say, okay, I want to smoke in 2 hours, put it somewhere nice closely. I go to my location, now smoke my Roca with the THC extract with the bud in there, and what type of effect does that have, and how is that a game changer?
This will heavily would make the dosage much heavier, so you'll get way higher. I would suggest that you would probably won't finish that joint even. You smoke a third of it, and then you have to take a pause, because you're not. It's just like you're not used to that kind of strength unless you're smoking quad infused with hash oil, with pollen, with distillate on top of it, and that even not you won't enjoy it, because what's out there today is not focused on the actual user experience. It's focused on the percentage of the THC, which is kind of unnecessary if you can smoke it. We at Roca really invested on the perfect toke. This is why the paper is engineered rather than just regular paper. And so does your experience. It's way more curated and thoughtful for your needs as opposed to other things that's out there. And that relates to smoking Roca even without the THC extract. So I myself, here in Israel, we smoke spliffs usually. You cut it with tobacco. And we know, and I myself, as an example, of a lot of people that stopped using tobacco with our paper. So it enables you to smoke flower as is. It's way less harsh on the throat. And regarding the infused ones, you can actually, for the first time, roll your own infused joints with no hassle. No need for a syringe or being a professional roller. If you know how to roll a joint with hemp wrap, you can roll your own infused joint. You don't need to worry about shake or what flour are you using. You can take your own top shelf flour, put it inside of it, and have your own 40% joint by yourself.
What about if I don't know how to roll? What about if I don't know how to roll?
So you can put it in a rolling machine. It works just like any other paper, but for that we also have cones. So you can just fill it up with anything you'd like. And David mentioned, like, we started with small cones and then glass tipped ones, and then we realized that Americans want to go big and even bigger.
Wow, that's a huge whoa. And what? So wait, what are the glass tip ones? What do they do?
So glass tip is very, I would say, hip now in the States. People love it. And it's just another thing for people to get used to, I guess. It's more of a trend, but the real meaning behind it is this would sell at a higher price point than this. Okay. So the glass tip, some people love the way it smokes. I myself prefer regular tips, but we have to offer everything to accommodate the needs of a large crowd. And if glass tip is what people want, we won't take it from them. So we gladly offer glass tips as well.
Wow. And David, let me flip it to you while you're showing us these amazing videos. On the commercial side of things, me being an ambassador with Roca and, saying, okay, how can we help you guys take this to the next level? Also having my experience, being a smoker as well. So then I said, okay, how can we get investors? So what I would like to ask you, David, is in investing into the company, what are you guys looking for? And what will you guys now do with those funds to make Roca bigger, make it more accessible? Then my second question could be, how do you get it to a country like Australia? Because here in Australia, it's not like America. It's not legal. Here in Australia, for example, I have a medical card from my Easy Kind. That's the prescription where I get it from. I would love to have Roca in that, when I go in and choose what bud I want. Imagine if I could see, a Roca and those that's awesome. So do you know the process in that? So yeah, two-parted question, and Ram, you can now join in that question as well. But yeah, first question on the investor side, how much would it take, to help Roca go to the next level? Who knows? One thing I know about smokers is they're very passionate, and maybe we can crowdfund from, all these amazing recreational smokers. They can get us all the investing that we need, with social media now. So yeah, what funds are we looking at to take Roca to the next level? What does that next level look like? And then, we can proceed. How do we get it into a country like Australia?
Yes, sir. So first of all, I'll start with Australia, actually. I just had a call now with a producer that has EU GMP facility in South Africa and is looking to bring Roca into Australia. So it might be faster than expected. Second, let me just clarify, because it's a great question. So I'll just give some more color on how Roca was established and how we see ourselves operating on a global scale. So first of all, Roca early on received a non-dilutive grant from the Israel Innovation Authority to really bring this innovation to cancer patients, allowing doctors to prescribe you your personalized medicine and then having you pick it up in the pharmacy with 100% traceability, capable of tweaking it from month to month based on your feelings, right? Turning cannabis from a license to a dangerous drug to a personalized prescription medicine. Right. Then we continued raising capital, mostly from high net individuals. We have one venture capital investor, mostly from the US, again, to develop the technology, the ability to print THC in precision dosage, the paper that took us around a year and a half to optimize to where it is today, all of the supply part. Now, as a company, we have two different business units. As we mentioned before, with the American populace wanting to put bud in it, even though it wasn't intended for it, we now have a full business unit that's completely dedicated to the recreational side of things on the paper side. So just the paper, that has no restrictions. In other words, the paper, we can sell, partner with potential collaborators in any state, any part of the world to sell the Roca paper, the optimized paper. On the machine side of things, early on, because we manufactured our own machines from scratch, 100%, not because we didn't want to have a manufacturer do it for us, but because nobody could do it, basically. So we know the hurdles, the complications of creating machines, distributing the machines, giving maintenance to the machine, etc. So our model was always to partner up with existing operators in each state that already have the licenses for THC, the distribution, their own brand, powered by Roca. So that is a much less capital intensive effort, allowing us to remain the technology layer and not the operator in each state, which would be a very capex intensive, opex intensive endeavor. So in order to get to this massive, rapid growth that we're now focused on the machine side of things, we are raising $3.5 million into the company. We are looking for obviously strategic investors, meaning investors that are not just contributing capital, but also have a certain angle of distribution, manufacturing, licensing, anything that would give us a leg up or something strategic for their specific market. I love when my investors or my partners have skin in the game, meaning they have a certain holding in our technology, in our company, for them to want to move it forward to more markets, for them to want to establish it deeper in their own market beyond just making money with the Roca technology. So we're looking for strategic investors. Again, our focus is US and Canada, but we're looking to have global penetration.
And Ram, what would you like to add on that?
I would say that emerging markets are very much interesting to us. Australia, Thailand, South Africa, Germany even. But we're looking forward to establish our machinery and technology where cannabis is more established. And as you know, Canada and the States are the most developed by far, both from a technology standpoint and from a consumer standpoint. So there's much less friction as opposed to having it being manufactured as a medicine, which have its hurdles. We've built the machine to accommodate that, but the easiest route to bring this out there to consumers is at those specific regions, which is Canada and the States. But the papers, as David mentioned, are something that can be sold internationally. Anyone can order up their Roca wraps or Roca cones, use their own flour. We even know of some people that prefer to smoke tobacco in the paper because it burns slower. They smoke less cigarettes each day because they use our paper. So the paper itself is a commodity and can be used internationally very easily. So either your country has medical cannabis, if you have black market cannabis, if you're just a tobacco user, you can smoke anything with it.
And that makes a lot of sense. You know where I could see Roca go big, because like you guys could take over literally the rolling paper industry, because for example, when I get my flour, then I have to go to the smoke shop to buy the pre-roll, the cones, right? So now exactly, instead of me going and buying these ones here where it's like I'm wasting the flour, I can get my Roca one specific. So everyone gets their rolling paper from Roca, so I can get the cone and all the different type of cones. I think and of course now the rolling paper you could sell anywhere. Exactly. Germany, Europe, I think would be huge. So my question is, what does it take for Roca to get to that level where everyone, like when you think of rolling paper, I think of Roca. Like that's where I can go to the smoke shop. Even you have people who don't even smoke marijuana, but like you just have the tobacco there. So what does it take for you guys to get to that level? Because that's what I can see now. This silly rolling paper or the cones that we have here, I should be using Roca. And can you guys handle that capacity? Let's say if tomorrow 100,000 people want to order their cones from Roca, can you guys handle that capacity?
So just to get things in order, we can manage large volume. We have a supply chain built for that. That being said, the papers themselves, we want to think that our paper, which is thicker and way more expensive than regular paper, would actually come instead of the rolling paper. If you're using wraps, you're smoking blunts, or you like smoking cannagars, this would definitely be the right choice for you. And if you're just an occasional smoker, you would make the most out of the small amount of weed that you have. So it can be an alternative to paper, but we're looking at it as an add-on. It's just another way to consume, a better way to consume, but we won't kid ourselves that people would smoke 10 of these a day with their price point. It's either would be your evening joint, your party joint, your weekender, all that, because you can't really work with this, especially with the infused one. Like you can be very much creative, but just the grinding day in day out would be hard. But we do see ourselves expanding globally and offering our papers to anyone that would like to use them as a part of their ritual. So we're all about improving the ritual and accommodating large crowds.
Love to hear it. David, I'd love to get and feel free, David, I love the way you've been sharing the screen. It's also great for people to, not just hear what Ram, for example, is talking about, for us to also see it too. So yeah, David, because, okay, so that's very interesting. We can, if tomorrow, get 100,000 orders, from Roca. So that's a very good thing to hear. So yeah, David, what would you like to add on that?
I think Ram covered it pretty well. Ram is the 3D printing genius, and I'm the venture capital side of things. So together we kind of built Roca to be very lean and allow for rapid growth when demand hits. So we have a logistic operation where we receive the paper from the US, then we give it the 3D microtexture, and even though at the moment we're not focused at it, we can also brand the papers. We have third-party rolling partners that roll the papers into those cones that you've seen, and it's just a matter of lead time. Like if we get now 100,000 orders from today to tomorrow, we calculate how long it would take with the existing supply chain and try to optimize it as much as we can. But it's not an issue. We can basically grow relatively quickly on the paper side of things. In fact, we're now going to be in the US on May 6th till May 10th for a conference called Champs, showcasing precisely the paper, not focusing so much on the fusion and the machinery. Ram is or was showing up till now the website where you can go in now, make an order your wraps or order your cones, again, to be filled with flour without the infusion element. The infusion element, like we mentioned, would require Roca having a partner in your local market. So if you're in Las Vegas, we would have to have a Nevada market partner. If you're in LA, Los Angeles, California market partner, in New York, Australia. So this way we can get the paper out there as soon as possible and have people enjoy the benefits, like we mentioned, of the recreational side of things before coming in with the full ability to also smoke just extract.
And I'd just like to add, so you guys on the website now, there is a coupon code, Sugira Rubasha, you can use to get a discount. So the link in the description, you guys will be able to use my coupon code so you can get a discount, order as many as you can. So quick question on the supply chain logistics side. Like, for example, the other day I ordered something from Amazon. It got here straight away, 2 days later, boom, it got here. Okay, I said, wow, Amazon have a very, 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 very good supply. That's how they keep customers. That's why they are where they are. So if I was to order rolling, I have my flower that's come in, and smokers, they want their stuff now, as soon as possible. When can I get my weed, my rolling papers? So when I'm ready to enjoy, like I'm good to go. Convenience. That's what customers want. So if I was to order my Roca, I want my glass tip rolling paper. How long would it take to get to Australia, to get to Germany? I know America's a big market, and that's a whole different shark in itself. And we'll also talk a little bit about that. But yes, let's say for the smokers out there who are also globally, that we could just see the website. They can use my coupon to code to order wherever. How long would it take to get there so that they can enjoy their sessions?
So just like our supply chain and shipping at the moment is dialed in for the States. So in USA and Canada, you'll get it probably within a week. Internationally, it would probably take about 2 weeks. So I would bulk up my order so you'd have an inventory.
Yeah. Basically, Sugira, our focus is the US, but if we see that there is interest from a certain market for us to bring in a 3PL partner, a local distributor, somebody that has a large stock of our papers, can really turn the process from 2 weeks to a couple of days, giving you like an Amazon-like service. It all depends on the demand from each market and how we grow. Right now, we're also looking at Europe to bring a 3PL partner there, because we're seeing a surge in demand after ICBC Cannabis conference that just took place in Berlin. Like I said before, we built this so it's able to scale rapidly. So for us to bring you an Amazon-like experience would just entail us having a local partner in your market. At the moment, our local partners are only in the US, so that's why the delivery is a bit longer. And we do suggest making a bulk order because there is an international shipping as well. But yeah, to make a long answer short, we're ready and willing to distribute globally.
Wow. What I would say, we'll start with you, Ram, then can go on to David. What's next for Roca? What's next? What are you guys innovating for the smokers out there? Why should people be excited what's happening with Roca again in America? Like I said, going out to in America, there's a big culture of backwoods. People do I've never really liked the tobacco. I've just loved pure flower. Just that's the best way to enjoy it. So I'd love to hear what's kind of the future, what's on your mind, and how can this help the everyday smoker out there?
So there are two aspects for this, two parts of the answer. First of all, I would address the backwoods. So backwoods is nicotine. There are alternatives like tea leaf and hemp. Our paper outperformed all of them. That's guaranteed. So it's either the burning aspect of it, which is a slow burn, and the neutral taste of it that allows you to taste the flower rather than the nicotine or the cigar wrap. And on the other end, is to actually introduce the American market is heavily directed towards pre-rolls. So there are a lot of people that don't know how to roll flower and they just buy something that's easy to take out of the tube, light it up and smoke it. This is why we're working with other technology companies to integrate our products into their environment. So we are working with companies like Accelerant, like Xylem, like Hephaestus to integrate our products, our cones to their machinery, and then enabling manufacturers and operators to launch new pre-roll categories with Roca wraps. So you could buy your regular J at the dispensary with a Roca cone instead of a regular cone. And that would ensure you, at the end user, you would enjoy it better because it would smoke slower and less harsh on the throat and you'll get more high. And on the other way, the actual manufacturer or operator or dispensary can charge a markup for that, because a hemp wrap is something that's way more costly than a regular cone. So we are intending to launch something that will accommodate anyone, but we're not the low tier joints that you have. So that's the direction we're taking, either infused or uninfused Roca pre-rolls at the dispensary.
What I'd just quickly love to add on that, like what I can see for Roca, yeah, you're right, like more of a luxurious thing, right? To have a Roca, so for all those people who enjoy their weed just like you would enjoy your wine, you're not going to go and buy a $10 bottle of wine or whatever. So with your rolling paper, let's say you've got really good flour, or you can go online, you can use my coupon code Sugira Rubasha, SUGIRA when you're checking out, get a discount and just enjoy your marijuana, especially out there in America. It's a huge market. Like you said, it's where your most common market is. And I guess what's really popular is the pre-roll. Like, I don't know how to roll. I hate rolling. I don't have time for it. But okay, if I have a pre-roll, that shortens the time. And that's what you guys are good at. So yeah, David, what do you see as the future? And, there's I guess a lot to be excited for with Roka.
Absolutely. So, on this call and in general, we just talked about the smoking application. Roka's machine or technology that we developed is also relevant for edible markets and markets that extend well beyond THC, cannabis, recreational, medical. Our technology could be relevant for pharmaceutical aspects, basically mixing and giving precise dosages of medications that people often need to take several pills together. One pill, one substrate. There's a lot of ways where the rocket technology can go just within the cannabis space, like the edible potential of what we have is immense. The process of now creating an infused gummy, when you eat like a gummy that has THC in it, we can streamline that process to the point where you take a regular gummy, you use our technology to coat it with a precision dose of THC, and then our technology to coat it with a sugar-based sealant that keeps the THC from oxidizing and allows you to basically consume it safely. So we can streamline so many other processes within the cannabis space, outside the cannabis space. Our technology at the moment, the machines are focused on being able to infuse just our paper specifically and in a straight form factor. The machines can be revised to coat for the recreational market, pre-existing pre-rolls, right? There's a lot of different things that we can do with our technology for the cannabis market, beyond the cannabis market. There's so many ways our technology can go from here.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Okay, so guys, what I'd love to do is play a game where I'll say a word and whatever comes to your mind, you guys can say. Okay, we'll start with you, Ram. THC, and then you can explain.
Yeah, viscous. Yeah, that's like coming from a medical background, like a medical patient background. THC percentage was something that was just listed on the packages. But after dealing with it for so long, the main attribute that I see from a technology standpoint, which is how I frame THC at the moment, is viscous, and how I can attack it in order to make it something that's more pliable. So viscous.
Interesting. David?
THC, my head goes to medicine. Obviously, we've been educated on the market in the US and how the lines between medical and recreational are so blurry. They get their patients and recreational consumers get their cannabis at the same spot. But to me, THC is still widely looked at as a drug, where it should be looked at as a medicine with actual benefits to a lot of people in a lot of different spheres of medicine.
Interesting. Innovation, Ram. Innovation, when I say that, what comes to your mind?
Print everything. Yeah. We're in a certain point in time that the old manufacturing ways are changing and shifting. You can see it with AI, and you can see it with actual manufacturing. Instead of doing the old world methods of something that was invented in the Industrial Revolution, now we have the Industrial Revolution 2.0, which is way more AI and actually additive manufacturing oriented. So instead of having a long lead time and a long process to create the tools in order to manufacture, now the technology can just manufacture without the hassle and the long lead times. So I would say print everything you can. You can print buildings, you can print cannabis, you can print steaks, just print it.
Love it. David?
My background is venture capital investing. So I've been fortunate to invest across the board, from cyber security startups to your run-of-the-mill SaaS enterprise software startups, medical device startups, single-cell RNA drug discovery platforms, really like everything across the board, and super agnostic in terms of stage. And one of the things that you asked about innovation that got me super excited about the concept that Ram came to me with back in 2022 was that it's a tangible, real product that can really create a real innovation, real change in the way that people have been consuming, cannabis flower or any inhalable for since the cigarette was invented. I thought with AI coming in, and this has been something that we've been cognizant of since 2021, 2022, how all of the, stack of software and software companies is going to be majorly disrupted with AI. How, to Ram's point, print everything, like innovation to me nowadays needs to be within the realms of the tangible, something I can feel and touch, something that's complicated to change a paradigm that people are used to. AI is coming in and optimizing and shortening processes and doing stuff for you. So for me, innovation now has to be tangible. And I think that what Ram and I are doing with Roca is innovative from so many different standpoints, 4 different patents in different stages, 2 on the paper alone, on the ability to take viscous cannabis and manipulate it to the point where we can print with a microns variation, like very precise, between 5 and 300 milligrams of any material onto a 3D textured paper that you can roll on itself and light, and it will smoke controllably. That to me is innovation.
Powerful. Love it. Next word, rolling paper. Ram, rolling paper. What comes to your mind?
Yeah, that's about it. Like, that's the only paper I use.
And how do you smoke? Do you smoke with the extract only? Are you a flower person? I know you talked a little bit about it. You used to do spliffs. Yeah, what type of smoker are you?
Usually I do about 1 gram regular joint uninfused. But when we get to the States, usually I have to partake, and we're like supersize everything. So in the States, Roca usually are infused, maybe even with a hash hull and with flour, and they're not just 1 gram. Usually they're about a gram and a half and 2 and even 3. Luckily for us, like our paper as opposed to other ones can accommodate large tips, so the diameter can differ heavily. So we can even accommodate 14 millimeters, which is kind of unheard of in diameter. Yeah, so that's a thick boy. That's the thing. Like, it's very flexible. You can roll dog walkers with it, and you can roll a gigantic joint. And of course, no need for tobacco. This is kind of a dream come true for me.
And just quickly on that, like as a the fact that you created this, you've been a part of something that's so amazing, is also a visionary. As a co-founder, like how often would you smoke, like in regular within your life?
Usually, because I have a medical license, my prescription is to have at least 1 each day. But yeah, so being a medical patient for 15 years, my license accommodates that specific amount. I would say that usually I smoke them in the evenings, and mostly I can't even finish it. So it takes about 3 to 4 sessions to smoke just one.
Wow, guys, are you guys hearing this about Roca? Wow, it may be, especially for people who love smoking, the fact that you're saying that you can't even finish it, because I've had ones where if it's too strong, you can't even, so I can imagine with Roca and the technology, the slow burn will have a longer lasting impact. I'm very impressed. And David, over to you. Rolling paper, what comes to your mind?
I mean, I can't give a better answer than Ram. I mean, Roca is an abbreviation of rolling card, right? Because it's a card you roll. You don't need to add anything to it. So rolling paper, Roca, for sure.
Wow, love it. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much for this, episode. And I can see us doing many episodes. I think just seeing the reaction on LinkedIn and YouTube that there's not many people in this space, having these type of conversations. But not only that, I think the technology and where you guys are is advanced, right? So, what we're going to do is talk to other people within the cannabis industry, have them on this show, and we can all have these type of conversations with other big people in this industry. And how can we get large orders from recreational smokers who want some Roca? People from Australia, majority in America who are there, they can use my coupon code and get their rolling paper now, so we can get, we can help take Roca to the next level. So yeah, guys, I really want to thank you for coming on. And Ram, was really nice to meet you. First time we've ever met, but it was just a natural and authentic conversation as I had with David.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. and we're looking forward for the future. Like, we're all in for a future conversation about it. Our technology is ready, and we're looking forward to have practically everyone use it.
Awesome. David?
Hey man, we'll see you in Australia soon, I'm hoping.
And just before we leave, where's the next trip? I know you guys are getting ready for a trip. Can you let everyone know where? Maybe they could meet you there, whoever will listen to this on Spotify once we put it out as well. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be in 2 weeks' time in the US, in Las Vegas. Again, Ron and I have spent over 2 months there in total over the past few years, because it's ground zero for cannabis conferences. We're going to be presenting Roca papers at Champs conference in Las Vegas, Nevada, between the 6th and the 10th of May. It's going to be an event where you can purchase on the floor. So literally, it's a buyer's event. We're going to present to distributors, buyers, retail, smoke shop owners, dispensary owners, really getting Roca to the masses there.
Awesome. Ram?
Yeah, feel free to meet us and contact us directly through LinkedIn. We'll be there with inventory of cones and wraps, and we might even drop for a couple of days afterwards to California to see the local scene there and introduce Roca to local dispensaries.
Yeah, I think California could be a big market for you. If you can dominate into California, then if people stamp it from California, because we all know California, when it comes to marijuana, anything like that, we've got some really good stuff there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Roca goes. I'll continue to do my best as ambassador to reach it out to as many people. And then I got to come to America. Either I'll order the ones off Roca online, and then I'll come to America and experience with the real smokers over there.
Beautiful. Ram is a real smoker, man. Let me tell you, Ram can smoke Snoop Dogg under the table.
This is not the truth. David has a problem. He's like, THC doesn't work on him. I've seen him ingest about 1,000 milligrams of edibles and nothing. I don't know what's happening with him. I don't know.
It's not a bad quality for a cannabis CEO executive. You make a lot of business that way, and everybody's fucked up, and you're straight as an arrow. So it's not bad.
Yeah.
So just quickly, edibles. So are you guys developing an official edible that I could also eat that's Roca?
That's going to be in the future. Like, our technology can do that, but at the moment we're focusing on smokables and inhalables. But this would certainly come up in the future, because our technology and all of our materials are quite, in fact, perfect for this. All the materials we're using are FDA approved. They're coming from the pharmaceutical industry. So it's something that's just logical for us to step into.
Love it. Love it. Okay, guys, I can't wait for more conversations. Thanks very much for your time today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Roca and the moon. Bye, guys.
Bye, have a good one.
Hey, what's wrong? Bro, I'm stressed out. I'm running my business. I've got to serve my customers, but I need more customers coming in. I can't keep relying on word of mouth. Why don't you just use ETS Rubasha Media? Who? Well, with AI now, what they do is they go in, get your perfect clients, bring them in front of you. So all I got to do is run my business, and he brings me opportunities. Think about it. You speak to 3,000 of your ideal customers, convert 1% of that 3,000. That's 30 people. 30 people in a room with you. Can you convert that? Of course I'll close them. I'm good at what I do. I just don't have time to be going and looking for my perfect client. Focus on what you love doing and let them bring you customers. When you win, they win. Commission, cha-ching. Sugira Rubasha, huh? Yeah, Sugira Rubasha. Go and Google them, man. Come on, take it to the bank.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're going to love that one.